Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back again with another stream. This one, we're looking at Double Game Week 32 and our transfer plans, captaincy. We'll also talk about clean sheet odds, etc., as we always do. And we'll discuss everything and maybe a bit of chip strategy as well, because there will be people playing chips now that the season's coming to a close. But yeah, how you doing, Jordan? How's everything going?
Yeah, everything's good. Hopefully everyone else is having a nice week so far. And yeah, obviously the build up to Double Game Week 32 is exciting. Just one more day before, or 2 more days before we see obviously the deadline for it. But yeah, very excited. Looking forward to going through this discussion of Double Game Week 32.
Yes, so let's bring up the first slides. As always, clean sheet probability. Right at the top, you've got Newcastle. Bear in mind, Newcastle do have a double game week, so this is the likelihood of them keeping at least one clean sheet. So obviously they've got the highest chance because they play the most games. So 57% chance for Newcastle. 2 home games, which is really nice. Man United at home and Palace at home. So I think triple up Newcastle is a very good idea. I think Isak, if you've got him, I think Isak is going to be the outstanding captaincy option this week. I think most people will captain Isak. If you've got a triple captain still that you haven't played, I think it's a great time to play it on Isak as well. In defense, you probably want at least one of Burn maybe, or a Livramento, who we also saw got an assist in the last game. And so the man of the game week was Jacob Murphy, who I do own, getting the 2 goals within like the first 15 minutes, which was massive. So Jacob Murphy as well could be a potential buy. I think triple up on Newcastle does look good for this week. And the rest of the list, you got Brighton, 50% chance of a clean sheet against Leicester, who haven't scored in 8 consecutive games. Liverpool, 48% chance at home against West Ham, who have struggled lately as well. West Ham and Liverpool looking to bounce back from their first away loss of the season. And then sort of wrapping it up, Chelsea, Arsenal, you got Forest in there as well. But yeah, looking on the other side, the teams we're probably looking to avoid this week in terms of clean sheet. Let's talk about defenders here then, Jordan. I mean, Obviously Newcastle, you recommend having Newcastle assets. Any other defenders you're looking at? Obviously Palace have a double as well, but Palace only have a 29% chance of a clean sheet. 2 away games for Palace. I own Munoz. Obviously, what do you make of Palace's chances of a clean sheet? 29% seems, quite low.
Yeah, judging by this statistic, obviously a lot of single game week teams are higher than obviously Crystal Palace that have 2. Understandably, it is against 2 tough fixtures because you expect Newcastle to score and wipe the clean sheet from there, and you expect Man City obviously to score. Considering they're both away too, it's not a surprise to see obviously Crystal Palace at the bottom there for a chance of a clean sheet. I mean, I think it's still important though to have Munoz in there because, like we have most of the season, we've gone for the attack and returns, and Munoz has provided a lot of them through the season so far.
Yeah, I'll still be having Munoz in the team. I think a Newcastle over defense is good for this week. A single game week, Brighton, if you've got a defender like a Dunk, if you're bench boosting, a Bradley could be decent this week, or if Bradley come back from injury from Liverpool, he could be an interesting punt going forward for the rest of the season, or at least the next 3 game weeks. Arsenal, again, we will want double up, triple up next week as well. They have a double in 33. But yeah, those are sort of the odds for this game week. Moving on to transfers in for double game week 32. And maybe no surprise, Murphy, after his brace, 331 and counting so far. Mateta's up there, who's got a double. Rogers had a double coming up as well. Munoz, double. As you can see, top 10 is made out of really teams that double, or they double in 33. Milenkovic is sort of the only one really that doesn't double, but he does have a nice fixture this week. I believe Everton at home. We can see a clean sheet for Nottingham Forest, especially if you're on bench boost. Milenkovic is a nice player to bench boost with this week. In terms of the transfers out, a lot of injuries to a lot of players that we'd like to have in our teams. Olaena, Chris Wood, Gabriel, we know is out for the season. Trent is still out injured. Elanga, which I didn't realize is flagged now. Gahey as well. So there's quite a few players that are flagged, unfortunately, which makes the game a bit less exciting, I guess, because there's not many options. But yeah, those are the most popular in and outs. Let's talk about single game week players, Jordan. Obviously, we all know the double game weeks, the teams that double and the players you should bring in. Let's say you want to bring in some single game week players that have a nice fixture, possibly, and talk us through this pick that you've gone with as a single game week player suggestion.
Yeah, so obviously, to add a bit more excitement, because you obviously know what double game week players to go for. Why not go for a single one if you're in that position? So first one, obviously, Estupinian. And obviously, I think for the bare minimum, I think Estupinian will get a clean sheet, if I'm honest, against Leicester, who have failed to score, like we said, in 8 consecutive Premier League matches. With their last goal, I think, came in January. So it has been a while since Leicester have actually scored. Underneath, obviously, Brian Van Nistelrooy now, being the new manager, hasn't really improved that team whatsoever. And if you look at the reverse fixture, which I think, obviously, the reverse fixture, I believe Estupinian did get an attacker return against them this season. So, in that regard, with Brighton having a home fixture against them, there's a high ceiling for Estupinian this game week to get potentially, and don't be surprised, a double haul against Leicester. So, I'll say the minimum, a clean sheet from him, absolutely. I don't see Leicester scoring, and I'm not going to run through the stats because obviously you guys can see that on the screen, but I feel like he will get a goal involvement, even if it's just an assist or a goal scored from the Leicester game. And I think the fixtures for Brighton are really good in next 5, despite that. So definitely Brighton is on the radar, I think, for next 5. If you're looking for like a long-term pick who doesn't have a double game week in between, I think Estupinian does fit the narrative really well for game week 32, especially.
Moving on to another single game week player that has some nice fixtures. In game week 32, Spurs at home could be interesting. Strand Larsen still low ownership, 4%. Game week 34 obviously might not be important to a lot of people because most people are going to free hit in 34. So you can always free hit Strand Larsen into your team, which could be a nice game week actually at the differential against Leicester at home. But yes, Tottenham and Man United could be interesting games. Strand Larsen, I think he's got 4 goals in his last 4 matches. I think he's on a bit of a roll. 11 goals for the season. But just want to, if you are, let's say, in a mini league, you're trying to chase, and you're trying to win your mini leagues, I think someone like Strand Larsen could be interesting for those of you that like taking a bit of the risk. Another one as well is Marlin. Did you want to add something on Strand Larsen? Sorry, or?
Oh yeah, just one more point. Obviously, with Spurs having a Europa match as well, I think this is an opportune moment to bring in like a Strand Larsen because obviously after tonight, Spurs will be tired. They play at the weekend again, and after I think they've only won 2 of the last 9 Premier League fixtures that immediately follow a Europa League tie. So I do think beneficial to bring in like a Strand Larsen. I think Kun is back as well after his suspension, but I think with the run of form, I think 3 goals in the last 3 game weeks for Strand Larsen, I think he's a good pick as well against Tottenham.
Yeah, that's a good point. Spurs playing tonight, obviously, against Frankfurt. Moving on to Marlon, talk us through this one because this is interesting. Obviously, Aston Villa have a double in 33 and then they blank in 34. What makes Marlon an interesting option for you?
Yeah, the one thing that points me out, obviously, for Marlon is he wasn't involved, obviously, in the game yesterday. He can't be involved in that fixture in the Europa League?
Champions League.
The Champions League, sorry. So that does mean Marlon could be nailed for a couple of minutes more than what we have seen him. So he probably won't play 90. There's always the risk, but I think that's the risk for all Aston Villa assets, especially with Rodgers playing 90 minutes yesterday. in the championship match. But Marlon, I think he's guaranteed minutes in that fixture against Southampton. And it's one of those fixtures where potentially Marlon could go big. And the most beneficial thing about this is if you look at the ownership of Marlon, he is 0.2%. You can arguably say it's one of the best differentials to go for game week 32, who could possibly get a good attacker return. Even though he's had 2 goals so far in terms of goal involvement, he's only had 8 appearances, so we have to take that in consideration. But I do believe if you want to take a punt on a Marlon, if you haven't got anything else to do, I would certainly do it just for this week and see what happens, because it wouldn't surprise me if he does get something from that game. As we know, obviously Southampton are officially relegated. There's nothing more they can really do apart from cause some trouble. So I think it's more important and fundamentally important that Aston Villa do get the win, and Marlon could be a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously Aston Villa need to win as they are still chasing Champions League football as well. So yeah, those are sort of the players' suggestions that we sort of recommend, or interesting ones to look at. Let's move on to boss teams now.
Yeah.
I'll pull up my team first. Just bear with me. I have a bit of a dilemma as well, which we'll come on to. So I'm playing a 3-4-3 this week. This is my current boss team. I've not made any transfers. I have 2 free transfers, so I am in a decent position in that sense. In goal, I have Raya, who has Brentford at home. I have a back 3 of Dan Burn, Munoz, and Konsa. I have a midfield 4 of Murphy, Foden, Sarr, and Salah. And then up front, I've got Mateta, Marmoush, and Isak. On the bench, I've got Areola, Saka, Kusanov, and Gabriel. Now, 2 free transfers. I have also, I'm going to see how much I have in the bank. I don't think I have much in the bank. 0.2 million in the bank I have as well. So not a lot. In terms of what moves I'm planning, I could, in theory, roll and have 3 free transfers going into Double Gameweek 33. I have triple Newcastle, which I'm very happy about. And I have triple Palace as well, which I'm very happy about because I wanted maximum doublers for Game Week 32. And then I've got really nice single Game Week players like Salah, Marmoush as well. Foden is an interesting one because ideally I am a bit worried if Foden's going to start. Saka is also there. I actually think Saka's going to be benched against Brentford because Saka played about 70 odd minutes against Real Madrid in the 3-0 win. And then Saka went off. He was sort of limping when he went off, but Arteta said he's fine. With Champions League being such a big game now, I know Arsenal have a big lead. I will be very surprised if Saka does start that game. So I think that's why I've left him on the bench. I don't believe he'll start, which means I'm starting Foden, who also is a big rotation risk, and it might be even an injury risk because he went off in the Manchester derby. Don't know what the situation was there, but he's not currently flagged in the game, so I'm assuming he's fine to play against Palace. Whether he starts or not is another question because we know recently Foden has missed games, so I might have to do a transfer here as well, possibly, or I can just gamble and just play Foden and pray he starts. If he doesn't, then I'll get Saka, maybe 30 minutes of Saka off the bench. The other one I'm worried about is Konsa because Konsa played 90 minutes yesterday in Aston Villa's 3-1 loss against PSG. We know Tyrone Mings is fresh, ready to go as well. So Tyrone Mings could come in and play the Premier League game, which I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, those are the issues in my team, Konsa and Foden. I have 2 free transfers, so I can easily deal with it. But the problem is, if I was to do the 2 free transfers, let's say I do Gabriel to Saliba, right? And then I play Saliba and bench Konsa, and then I'll do Foden to Savinho, for example. I would want to do at least maybe 2 transfers next week. So I'll be forcing myself a hit next week, in a sense, because I want a bench boost next week as well. And Kusanov is another one. I can't really bench boost with Kusanov. So I'm sort of forced into maybe taking a hit, which I don't really want to do. the plan is, I'll just show you guys on the transfers page. I mean, what would you do, Jordan? Just very quickly. Obviously, you know the situation I'm in at the moment with the Konsa, the Foden, the Kusanov, even who doesn't. I mean, Kusanov hasn't started the last 2 matches, and I'm looking to bench boost next week. So again, he's another player that I'm a bit annoyed about because before I bought him in, he started 90 minutes. He started 5 in a row, 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And then last 2 he's not played since I wildcarded. So I've obviously got this one wrong. But yeah, what would you do in my position with 2 free transfers, knowing I have to bench boost next week as well?
I think knowing that if I'm bench boosting next week, I'd probably roll with this team and bite the bullet, because at least you know that the triple Crystal Palace and the triple Newcastle are going to play, which I think is the most important, because obviously it's a double game week. So that only really leaves the single ones that might be at risk. But I think I'll just see what happens with these players like Foden, Konsa, and see how many minutes they play, and then use your transfers. I think you have a better idea then with free transfers what to do with them, depending on what minutes they play and if they do start in the double game week. I think that's what I'm
tempted. Yeah, I'm tempted to do a defender transfer. Like, I regret not doing Gabriel to Saliba, if I'm being honest. I should have done that before the price rise. I'm now locked out of the move. Saliba's gone up to 6.5. And then Gabriel's dropped down to 6.1. So I've lost a bit of money on that. But if I didn't keep up with the price rises, so I missed that boat. But I will probably want Saliba anyway. I'm 99% sure Saliba will be coming into my team for that double in 33, Ipswich and Palace, because I'd want triple Arsenal. The only other player we could go for is maybe a Merino, but then the midfield slots are hard to replace. That leaves me with 1 free transfer. Let's say I do roll or whatever, I do 1 move. Kusanov, if I was to take him out, I'd probably want someone like Vardiol for his double. I know a lot of people aren't keen on City, but again, 9-pointer against Man United, 6-pointer against Leicester, I've missed out on since the wild card. So 2 clean sheets in a row for Man City. Double as well coming up. I really like Vardiol. He's good for bonus points as well. And the only other thing I might do now is, instead of having triple Man City, I might just go straight to Rodgers. Because Rodgers has a double in 33 as well, and just avoid Man City in total, like avoid a Man City midfielder in total. And I can do this. This is probably what my team's going to look like. That means, so that's 2 free transfers I've used, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Free, is it? Because you got -4 at the moment.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, -4. My bad. So that's the 3 transfers. That's what I'm probably going to do now. If I'm being honest, I'm probably going to just do Saliba, Vardiol, and Rodgers in, and leave it. If I could have done a bit more, like I could have took out Isak, because Isak has Villa in 33, and a single game week away from home, which is not ideal. I wouldn't mind taking him out for a Watkins, but do I want to take a hit now to do it is the question. Taking out Isak for a hit doesn't seem ideal. So this is what my team is probably going to look like, guys. Next week, it's Vardiol, Rodgers, and Saliba come in, and then I'll bench boost with his team as well. So, my bench boost will consist of Konsa, I believe, who's got a double. Konsa will probably be on my bench boost. Maybe a Rodgers. Also, Murphy is the other one, actually. My bad. I probably will take a -4 because I've realized I don't want Murphy for Villa away. He's one I could take out, but as you can see from my transfers, I'm in a sticky situation because of Kusanov has not paid off. Foden and Kusanov are the ones that have sort of ruined my plans, because if they were fit and they were starting every game, I would have just kept them for the double. So what I would have done, I would have kept Foden here, and I would have probably took out Murphy and someone else, maybe Isak. My plan was to take out Isak, actually, if I'm being honest. My plan was to take out Isak and do Watkins, but then obviously Watkins was benched yesterday. So who knows? And even then, the budget's getting a bit tight because we've not really got the money to do it. So
4.2.
I don't know what I'd do, because Vardiol, Saliba, with his price rise, these are too expensive sort of defenders. So I might have to avoid Watkins, which I wouldn't mind owning Watkins because he's got a nice double. I know Newcastle on Man City is tough fixtures, but Aston Villa have a lot to play for. Man City away I don't think it's that bad of a fixture anymore. Newcastle at home, who knows? Villa are pretty strong at home, so ideally I wouldn't have minded to do something like that. But now Foden and Kuzanov have given me a big problem, as well as Gabriel, because my plan was to keep Gabriel for the rest of the season. But now he's injured. Yeah, that's caused a bit of an annoyance as well.
If you still want Arsenal double defense, right, with obviously Raya and Gabriel, but
Probably
he's injured. But instead of Saliba, would you consider going for Kiwior? Who obviously is playing. Kiwior. Sorry, in absence of obviously Gabriel, he's cheaper, saves you money, and
he's a lot cheaper, to be fair. But I'm still slightly worried. Can he get rotated out? By then, we'll have known, obviously, if Arsenal go through in the Champions League. I expect Arsenal to go through now after the 3-0 first leg win. I still worry with Kiwior. Will he get one of the rotation in one of the matches? You know, we know Calafiori should be back soon. We know Ben White should be back soon, and I think Ben White is back. He can play centre back as well. So, but then again, you never know. Saliba might get rotated out in one of them as well, because he's their most important defender now, and he might miss a game. So, yeah, that's the situation I'm in, really. With the bench boost, it's hard. That's why I like wildcarding and then bench boosting straight away the week after, because then you know, bench boosting even 2-3 weeks after you've played a wildcard is tough, because there's injuries, suspensions, player form, minutes, risks, and things like that usually happen.
A lot can happen within 2 weeks of
football. Because even if you wildcard in 31, you know, I would have not had Gabriel. That Gabriel injury has sort of changed plans big time.
Yeah, no, I don't think no one saw that Gabriel injury coming. He's been quite solid this whole season.
But yeah, that's the plan. Right now, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I think I might roll, but I'm tempted to just make transfers. So do I play this, right? Or do I bite the bullet or wait another week for more information? We might learn for more information heading into Double Gameweek 33, which is valuable as well. But if I was to do something, it'd probably be... Actually, you know what? I'd probably bring Vardiol this week. Because Vardiol has... Actually, no. Vardiol had a tougher fixture. Palace at home. You'd expect Palace to score. So let's say I bring in Saliba this week, who I'm not even sure about is going to start, by the way, because he played 90 as well in the Champions League. And then I'd have to do probably Foden out to Savinho. But I don't think it's worth it. Sorry, not Savinho. Savinho or Rodgers, but I'll probably go Savinho, because Rodgers, my plan is to do Rodgers next week, if I can, for Murphy. How would that work? So if next week I do Rodgers in, I still have to sell Kusanov, you see, though. And that would be... Who would I bring in? Vardiol here. Yeah, that is what I'm gonna probably do. Saliba, Vardiol, Savinho, and Rodgers. That's what I'm gonna do. But look at that. You see, it's a -8. So it will be a -4 technically next week, which I don't mind doing a -4 at this rate, because I need to bench boost. And bench boosting with Savinho and stuff, I don't think is a bad plan. So yeah, I'm gonna do a -4 next week probably, and do 4 transfers. And these are the 4: Saliba, Vardiol, Savinho, and Rodgers. And I'll have more than enough money in the bank as well, so shouldn't be priced out. What do you think, something like that for next week? And just bite the bullet this week, or do you go early because Conte might not start? I might not have 11, or whatever the case may be. I might get a 1-pointer.
I would bite the bullet just to have more information after that week, to see maybe a better perspective of the players you're going to take out.
Yeah.
Then doing it early in case those players do play and do get something like a Foden.
Yeah, I just don't like relying on Foden now.
Yeah, Understandably, he has
And
a
then
pack.
even you look at my bench, I've not got much on there because Saka, again, he's a risk. I don't think he starts personally. Kusanov, you can't trust him to start. No starts in the last two. And Konsa played Champions League as well. So, but yeah, I think you'll have to tune in Saturday, guys, because I actually have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to sleep on it, think about what I'm going to do in terms of like the transfers and sort of go from there.
It's a big predicament to have.
Yeah.
Comparatively to mine.
Anyway, let's enough of my team. Let's move on to your team. Let's bring up your boss team. Obviously, also, guys, I'm on Captain Isak. That's confirmed as well. Like, I won't be moving it to a single game week player or even Mateta, who's got a double as well. But yeah, Jordan, talk us through your boss team and then your transfer plans.
So starting to go again is Pickford with Nottingham Forest away. So there's a bit of a clash there because I have Milenkovic in defence too, who's playing against Pickford. So I mean, I could opt to play Nuri, tempting instead of Milenkovic, but I kind of like the chances of Nottingham Forest keeping a clean sheet against Everton. But yeah, on to the back three. Obviously, Munoz is there with Man City, Newcastle for the double. Yeah, not really much to discuss about. We've spoken about double game week players a lot, and despite a clean sheet coming from this is very low, I do like Munoz's attacking threat. And to complete the back three is Huijsen, who's got a tough fixture again against Fulham at home. Hard to know what the result of that match will be, whether it will go Bournemouth's way or not. But Huijsen did pick up an assist last game, so I'll play him and see if he gets a clean sheet or an assist or nothing. We'll have to wait and find out. Midfield four got Salah, Rodgers, Palmer, and Sarr. Obviously, Palmer's an interesting one because of his rotated minutes, only playing half an hour against Brentford in the last fixture.
He's playing right now. I think he got subbed after 45 minutes, if I'm not mistaken.
So that is a good sign for Palmer if you still have him.
Double check. Chelsea are winning 3-0. Madueke just scored 2 goals. Looking at Chelsea's lineup, Palmer did start this one and was subbed at half time.
Okay, that's good. I mean, with the job done at 3-0, that does give a positive start for Palmer in the Ipswich game at home, up next for Chelsea. So again, that's another important game for them.
Yeah, this is probably the last week that I'm guessing you keep Palmer for at this point. Or
yeah, it's the last chance saloon for Palmer. After this game week, he will be sold for someone in the team. It was going to be Saka, but again, that's probably not likely going to happen. It might have to be someone else in the meantime. But yeah, Palmer against Ipswich at home.
Yeah,
hopefully he can get me something before I get rid of him. Obviously, there's a Sarr there. I kind of prefer to have Eze there, if I'm honest, but I'll have to roll with the boat now with him, and hopefully he does get something from that game over Eze. Hopefully this time around. Rodgers is there. Obviously, he played 90 minutes in the Champions League game yesterday. Hopefully, he does play some minutes in that Southampton game, and I'd rather have him start rather than be benched and then come on. But yeah, fingers crossed. And obviously Salah's there against West Ham at home. Back-to-back blanks for him. Can he get back onto scoring form? We'll have to see. But I wouldn't mind if he does blank again, because obviously I'm not captaining this week. And moving on to the front three, obviously Isak is there with the captain over him, who's got mainly like the Crystal Palace, both home fixtures, which I'm delighted about. After his little injury scare, he seems to be fine and ready for that double game week. Mamouche next to him gets Crystal Palace at home, and that's always an interesting fixture to watch for both sides because normally both teams do score against each other. And with the absence of Haaland still, Mamouche is the next best, I think, in terms of Man City attack and nailed for minutes. And then we got Wissa, who I won't go into too much detail because he is partly part of the transfer plans for my team. But he does have Arsenal away, which is a very tough fixture for him. And on the bench, we've got his teammate in Burmo, Nuri, and Mikalenko, who's currently flagged, doubtful for not the Forest game. and then I'm playing goalkeeper Vardy Marson. If I switch over to my transfer page, I can discuss with you what my plans are. And if I'm honest, it's really boring this week, so I'm not really going to spend too much time on talking through these transfer plans. But I have 3.8 million in the bank with one free transfer. And as you may guess, I am going to use the transfer to take out Wissa. And you might also guess what player I'm going to bring in, and that is Mateta, because it would be crazy to go without Mateta in the double game week, especially when Crystal Palace have back-to-back ones. So I definitely don't want to miss the boat out on Mateta potentially scoring in either Man City, Newcastle, or both games. So here's the player I'm going to bring in. It's quite boring because everyone's going to be bringing in, obviously, Crystal Palace, Newcastle players for this week. So yeah, he's going to be my simple transfer. No real other transfers I need to make, if I'm honest. So yeah, that's my transfer plans for Double Game Week 32. Quick and easy and simple.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, obviously, Mateta makes sense with a double. Could you be tempted to take a hit for a Gordon or a Murphy, like a Newcastle midfielder or even a defender potentially with their double as well? Nice double.
Yeah, it's just the headache of trying to fit the other player in for it, because if I do bring in, let's say, him for Burmo, like a Jacob Murphy, I'd have to bench either Palmer, Rodgers, Salah, or Sarr. And the front three, there was no option there really to bench any of them. If I am planning on bringing Mateta as well, along with Isaac, I'd have to bench Marmoush. Yeah. So yeah, I think I want to avoid taking a hit and sort of not having their benching headache.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, good shout, obviously. But yeah, I think Newcastle assets, it could be a big week, could be big swing. Obviously, just the one, when a lot of people will have two, maybe three, like myself. But also, I was just going to say as well, guys, if you are in the chat, if you're watching, if you're enjoying the content, hit that like button. Make sure you stay subscribed to the channel as well, and obviously always, share the video, etc. if you can. But yeah, as always, guys, hit the like button. It just really helps the channel out a lot. But yeah, we're both on Isak captain. I think a lot of people will be, or maybe some people might go Mateta for type of fixtures. But Mateta is doing quite well now. Obviously, coming back from that injury, looking better. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this stream. We're back again on Saturday morning for Double Gaming 32 stream. Make sure you do join, because I don't really know what I'm going to do. I might roll. I might do 2 transfers. Or I might wait till next week and just, take the bullet as we mentioned, and do a -4 and then do 4 transfers next week, because I will have 3, which I'll have saved up.
Yeah, the chat might need to help out Huss on the deadline stream. So yeah, make sure you do tune in for that, because I think he will need the assistance and guidance to see what the best way forward is for his team.
Yeah, but thank you guys for watching. Have a good rest of your evening. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care.
Yeah, take care, guys. Enjoy the football and see you on Saturday.